Hey everybody, Tekking101 here. Now, spoilers are very important. Okay, you know what? Screw it. It's the freaking FKT arc. I so do not give a shit about this video. Alright. So Aizen has invaded Karakura town and is immediately sealed by Yamamoto's Fortress Blaze attack. Foreshadowing much? I don't know. Anyway, Barragan takes over, and he decides that since the four pillars surrounding the town are bridging the fake Karakura town with the real Karakura town that's in the Soul Society, he orders each of his Fraction to go and destroy the pillars. However, they're being protected by four very subpar average Shinigami. Yumachika fights and defeats this thing using his Ruryokujaku True Shikai ability. Then we have Izuru who fights against Avimara Redder, not really much to talk about in that battle. Shuhei releases his Zanpakuto Kazaishi and defeats Findor Karius quite handily. But of course, because we can't have flawless victories all around, Shouting Pow beats the living shit out of Ikaku, mostly because he refuses to use his Bankai because you can't let anyone else see it. Yeah, you'll be much more useful dead in that situation, but hey, at least your Bankai won't be seen. That's the important shit right there. Don't worry about it too much though, because Komamura takes up the bat and hits a Grand Slam right in Pow's face. Oh, and by the way, all while those battles with the pillars were going on, all the other Shinigami and Espada were just kinda watching it. Yeah, it's not so much a war as so much as a spectator sport. This arc. So now you're thinking we can move to the real battle, right? I mean, despite the fact that the pillars could probably be quite easily destroyed by any of the Espada at any time, but instead we have to focus on the lieutenants and the Fraction that haven't been defeated yet, while the captains and Espada just sort of kind of fence for a dozen chapters without any real injuries going on. Maurecchio's kind of more of a badass than we thought of. I don't care. Momo's back. I don't care. Higio Vega versus Soifone. I don't care. Okay, well actually that was kind of the only time in this entire series where she actually uses her two-hit steps ability in canon, but yeah, still don't care. Okay, is Lilynet's like sole existence just to be Lolita fan service? Oh, okay, no. This is the one cool part where Yamamoto completely incinerates a half-immortal chimera creature brought into existence by Halibel's 3 Fraction. That was pretty beast just for the fact that it completely dominated all other Shinigami so they can take them out of the fight so we can focus on the people that really matter here. Okay, now that we're done with all the BS battles, can we please move on to the actual fights between the captains and Espada? Okay, we got their numbers. That's really cool. Now, can we please cut back over to Hueco Mundo to see Ichigo versus Ukiura? This arc! Now, I know what you guys are saying. Oh, well, we had to see Ichigo versus Ukiura. What do you have against Ichigo versus Ukiura? That was one of the most metal battles in the entire series. And I agree, but just for the fact that we have all these battles going on at the same time and we have to move between two different locations, I'm just saying Kubo could have simplified this immensely by just having Ichigo and Ukiura at the end of the Hueco Mundo arc. He could have fit it in somewhere, a little bit of a rewrite, you know, whatever, and we still could have probably cut back to Hueco Mundo for maybe a half a chapter or a full chapter during the fake Karakura town arc. But, you know, when you have all this shit going on at the same time, it's kind of confusing, and if Kubo would have done it that way, at least we could have spent the entire fake Karakura town arc in fucking fake Karakura town! This arc! So, Ukiura blows his load inside of Ichigo, Kua Kurosaki-kun by Orihime, and then Ichigo turns into his ultimate metal Jedi Super Vasto Lorde form. We got an epic battle here. We got Ukiura going into his Segundo Etapa. We got lightning lances. We got Saros flying everywhere. Uryu kind of loses an arm, sort of, depending on what version you're watching. And it all ends with Ukiura realizing the true meaning of a heart. Good for him. Good for him. Anyway, then we have Yami face off against Rukia, Renji, and Shad, to which he reveals his released form, revealing that he wasn't in fact the 10th and weakest Espada, he was in fact the 0th and the most strongest. Why Aizen didn't bring him to fake Karakura town when his strength would be completely necessary in this battle? This arc, that is why. Speaking of fake Karakura town, we finally cut over to the real battle. We got the captains going Bankai, we got the Espada going Resurrections, Toshiro pulls off an epic snow-covered death move to freeze Halibel in her freaking tracks. Then we cut over to Soifone, who loses an arm, but then makes up for it by summoning a fucking missile launcher to nuke Barragan from afar. And then we have Shunsui, who's kind of still just fencing with Stark, kind of, sort of. I mean, even when he goes into his Resurrection, he doesn't really take him that seriously. And, you know, it looks like that's it. All things are said and done when all of a sudden a Garganta opens, revealing the autistic kid who releases Halibel, then immediately proceeds to stab Ukitake in the back, knocking him out of the rest of the fight. Why does no one ever talk about this? This still bugs me to this day that Ukitake was one-shotted by this kid. Anyway, then he uses his giant monolith of a hollow monster named Fiora to release Aizen from his fortress-blazed imprisonment, and then proceeds to summon a shit ton of Gillions to attack the rest of the captains and lieutenants that haven't been completely knocked out of this fight yet. Oh man, this is done, guys! We're all screwed! But then the Vizards arrive! Yeah, remember those guys? I kinda did too. So then we have a whole chapter where Kubo basically just shows off how awesome the Vizards are by taking out a bunch of lower-class Gillian Hollows. Not really sold here yet. Then they get paired off to the individual fights. Lisa and Hiyori team up with Toshiro to take out Hallibell. Hachi, just Hachi, and Soifone and Marechio take on Barragan, and surprise, surprise, they're actually the only ones that managed to take out their opponents. I know, right? I'm blowing my mind. Freaking Hachi, of all people, takes out freaking Barragan. That's freaking nuts. Then we have Love and Rose that team up to take on Stark, who reveals his power to split his soul up into different wolf-type creatures, which almost managed to kill Love and Rose, despite the fact they haven't been using their Bankais yet, although that's kind of a running gag with Stark, where he keeps complaining that they won't use their Bankai, and they never do. Sorry, I feel for you, wolf bro. Anyway, though, that fight ends by Shunsui literally stabbing Stark in the back with his shadow, revealing his Zanpakuto's true ability to make children's games reality, and then he finishes off Stark in a very, and I cannot stress very enough, anticlimactic way. Anyway, Shinji fights against Aizen very briefly, reveals his Zanpakuto Sakanade. He takes great pride in, but kind of sucks every time he uses against anyone, really. So anyway, while the fight against Hallibell is still going on, we cut over to see what's going on with Komamura Shuhei as they fight against Tozen, their fallen compatriot. He reveals he now has hollow powers thanks to the Hogyoku and releases his Resurrection, which resembles kind of Ryuk from Death Note. And I'm not talking about the anime, I'm talking about that crappy CGI version in the Death Note movies. It turns out that he can also see now, which ends up being his downfall because, like Stark, anticlimactic finisher to this fight. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, pretty grisly fact that, you know, Shuhei stabs him in the head, goes released form, turns into a scythe in his freaking brain. That's pretty cool. But once again, I mean, just anticlimactic fights, how they end here. It's just whatever. But anyway, you know, it's not the fights themselves that are the reason I don't like this arc that much. I mean, it's not that. It's just the way they end just sucks. I mean, Stark was the first Espada. Arguably not the strongest, but definitely probably the most intelligent, or one of the most intelligent. You'd think you can get him a better coup de grace than what happened, okay? Same thing with Tozen. Like, I'm your fallen comrade, I have hollow powers, I'm gonna kill you, Komamura! Oh, wait, I can see now, so I'm not used to seeing, so therefore I'm dead. Ow! Okay, so meanwhile, we cut over to Mashiro facing off against Wonderwise. She's an idiot. She gets one-shotted. Kensei fights against him. He goes Bankai. Apparently, something really cool happened off camera because the next time we see him, he's defeated Kensei. Whatever. Now, all the other Shinigami and lieutenants and Vizards that are still standing decide to take on Aizen in an epic brawl. Anyway, with that done, Aizen decides just to cut the bullshit and cut Hallibell down himself, which results in Hiyori charging directly at him, which then results in Gin stabbing / cutting her in half, depending on which version you're watching, and now shit's real. We cut back over to Wakamuno, where we see the 4 captains arrive to take on Yami, also anticlimactic finisher, while Ichigo and Unohana head toward fake Karakura Town. Anyway, all the captains pretty much get one-shotted, to which Ichigo finally arrives. Ichigo blocks his attack, though, using his magical neck shield, but then gets immediately kind of put on the back burner for a while Yamamoto takes to the stage. And disregarding Ichigo, this is the battle we wanted to see. Yamamoto versus Aizen. How is Kubo gonna screw this up? Oh, by creating a specifically modified Aron card that was designed to seal Yamamoto's Ryujin Jaka ability. Okay, shit, Aizen, that was pretty clever. I gotta give it to you. Props, dude. But that's the only time you're gonna hear me say that. Okay, so even though Yamamoto does take out Wanderwise, it results in a massive explosion that would pretty much nuke the entire, like, 5-mile radius, so he has to jump on him to cushion the impact, which results in him being completely taken out of the fight. Actually, that's not completely true. He does launch a level 96 Keto against him, but Aizen gets out of it by just having some light burns, so it's okay. We wouldn't want his outfit to get ruined. That's a pretty... That shit was expensive right there. So now we get the epic fight against Ichigo and Aizen. No, we can't do that yet. We have to have a couple chapters with Aizen specifically talking to Ichigo about how everything was exactly as planned. He's known about Ichigo since before he was born, and his existence all caters on the fact that his father was a Shinigami and his mother was a quit... Oh, shit, I'm not supposed to know that yet. But then Isshin shows up to protect the fruit of his loins, which sends us into a mini-arc consisting of 23 chapters, which all have the exact same name. You can watch that video here. Fuck this arc.